Before I begin my remarks, I want to let you know that you can hear Torah not only from me today, but 3 of our congregants as well have written kavanot, introductions to each of the sections of Musaf. So if it's not usually your practice to stay, you might want to stay and hear Joe Sandy and Sam's wise words. Just going to ask that we close the doors, people find a seat. If you need seats, there are seats in the front row. Because as my dad used to say, gotta get here early to sit in the back. In the morning service, we say the words each day, Ma nomar lifanecha. What is there to say to you? It is an expression of awe, gratitude to the Holy One or to the universe. This year I say, Ma nomar. What is there to say in a year that is fraught for Jews, for Israel, for America, and dare say, for humanity? There is much to worry about, and they are all lofty and important topics: security, values, morality. And we are exhausted and fearful, angry, sad, lonely, and a bit broken. It feels like problems are spiraling around us and things are not really in our control. Today and tomorrow, I want to offer ideas from our tradition to help move us to a place of hopefulness, even amidst a difficult time, because we must live with hope. And hope and change can come from the very places where we feel broken. Hope can also come from living our Judaism loudly and proudly. Hope can come from doing acts of tikkun olam, of fixing the world. Remember when you stood at Mount Sinai with the rest of us during Revelation and signed on to this Jewish people? We were broken then. We had just come out of 400 years of slavery. And still, as a Jewish people, we said, yes, sign us up. Hope is not a naive belief that everything will be all right. We recognize that in many individual cases where there's a death, things will not be okay. But as a people, we know how to adapt. We know that part of adapting is living with hope. We also recognize that some of us enter the new year with a heart breaking in so many ways, but not in the same ways, because we are each uniquely ourselves. Krista Tippett, one of my rabbis, inspirational author, teaches that being heartbroken is something that we share with all of humanity. In this room, in this country, our people, and even with the children of our enemies. Maybe your heart is breaking because you worry about the short-term and long-term security of Israel, or how Israel is viewed in the world. Maybe your heart is breaking because you do not agree with some of the actions of the government of Israel or the United States, but you desperately love both places. Conversely, perhaps you feel all is okay and in the right direction, and you cannot understand why others do not. Maybe your heart is breaking because it's hard to internalize that someone who you love perceives issues radically differently from you. And even having conversations about important topics can feel isolating. I bet, like me, you know families, plural, where children did not attend Passover Seder with their families this year because of political divides. So sad. Maybe your heart breaks from rising, persistent anti-Semitism. A few weeks ago, a dear upcoming bat mitzvah student reported to me the anti-Semitic graffiti that she had just seen in town. It was quickly cleaned up by our friends at Palmer Square, but she is 12 years old, and this is now part of her story. Dr. Ilana Steinhain from the Hartman Institute suggests that though Jews often feel isolated in the world, we hadn't for many decades. And we are now beginning to ask questions that we have not had to ask. Where do we belong? Are we safe? Who are our allies? Have you had the conversation, even in jest, about where you might go if you felt really unsafe being here? Even saying those words is devastating. Perhaps you feel broken by politics, policies, and polarization in our United States. I do. And of course, there's the brokenness of the grind of everyday life, personal challenges of health, relationships, finances. I feel broken, like many of you, because the hostages are still there. My loved ones, your loved ones, are exhausted from years and months of IDF reserve duty. There are so many in mourning. And because of my Judaism and my Zionism, I break a bit for our Palestinians, our literal cousins, as you heard this morning, who are also in mourning, living in chaos and led by terrorists. I also break because 29 years ago I founded a food pantry, and I am utterly broken by the largest cut in our country's history of SNAP, food stamps. Our neighbors will suffer. This past year has been difficult. We find ourselves divided and judging one another, and as a result, it's hard to feel emotionally safe. I'll be totally honest that each time I say anything about Israel, Palestinians, anti-Semitism, our government, people respond to me by saying, thank you. And you did not say enough. And you said too much. And how dare you say anything? All about the same comments I made, or a letter that I did or did not sign. Please know, each one of you, I see you. I agree with you. I feel your anguish. It is mine as well. There are no easy answers, and that's what is most disconcerting. I know that each of your comments stems from your love of the Jewish people, Israel, and here, and the pain that you are experiencing. Can we consider that those with differing views might not have fully opposing ideas, but only different perspectives on solving intractable problems? The people who advocate for Israel's security also want it to have a stellar moral compass. Those who want this conflict to end, or who advocate for Palestinian self-determination, also want a secure Israel. We want this country to be less polarized, to be a beacon of freedom and care. We can hold multiple truths simultaneously, even if we lean at one time toward one side or the other. Care is not a zero-sum game. In 1982, my teacher, Rabbi David Hartman of blessed memory, wrote an important essay entitled Auschwitz or Sinai. If you haven't read it, read it. He asked whether Israel and Jewish identity should be defined by Jewish trauma, focusing on suffering and survival, or on the aspirational ideas that come from the covenant at Mount Sinai, focusing on moral responsibility, living within a framework of mitzvot, Jewish actions, and building a just society. While Auschwitz demands remembrance and vigilance against anti-Semitism, Sinai provides us a framework for positive Jewish living and ethical action. It is not either or. We must work to make the traumas of our people not occur again. But to really thrive, choose Sinai. Choose a sense of hope, a vision for a better world rooted in a relationship with each other in this room and with the entire Jewish people. Sinai encourages us to live joyful Judaism, to act morally, or to ask questions about morality, to engage in mitzvot, and it guides us to inspired living. Okay, so here's my first to-do, besides living within a Sinai covenant. Don't despair. Really. Ambassador Dr. Deborah Lipstadt often says, we have been through worse as a people and we will get through this. True. The Jewish people know how to survive and adapt in uncertain times. Our Torah recounts the story of Moses breaking the first set of commandments out of anger at the people for building a golden calf, an idol. They had not seen Moses in 40 days and they were scared. In their fear, they built the idol. When Moses smashed those first set of tablets, he awakened people to their own brokenness, their faltering faith. It moved them toward a renewed sense of belief. Later, when Moses records God's words on the second set of tablets, we are told that the people participate and feel connected. Something better emerged from something that was broken. This is the Sinai covenant. I know it is hard to see, but something better will come. The war will end and there will be change. Someone carefully collected each of the shattered pieces of the first tablets and placed them in the holy ark that led our people in the desert. We honor those broken tablets because they help us recognize what is fractured and broken in us. And they encourage us to move forward as they led the way. I admit that when I feel broken, we lack patience or empathy. We find it hard to grant grace to anyone. But we need that for each other, patience, empathy, and grace. The new year invites us to have great empathy for our loved ones and our people in this country and in this shul, and to grant grace to others. That is part of living the Sinai covenant. What helps? Listening to each other's anguish helps. Listening to each other's anguish helps them and you, the listener. Pirkei Avot, Ethics of Our Ancestors, teaches that one of the best ways to acquire Torah in your life, in your being, is to have a listening ear. Just was looking at some men in the congregation who have lunch together each week and listen to each other. Find opportunities to be heard. Come talk to me, my door is open, to friends or to community members. And God, help us to listen deeply to the pain of others. Listening is part of the Sinai covenant. Live your values. There are organizations that represent the diversity of opinions that live in this congregation. Organizations that can help you to do advocacy for what you believe. I can and will and have connect you with them. Being part of the Sinai covenant means working to make the world better. Dr. Melila Hellner-Eshed, the top scholar of mysticism in our day at Hebrew University, teaches the concept of mashber, which means crisis in modern Hebrew, broken. But the word mashber is used in biblical Hebrew to refer to the moments directly before birth, a birth pang, or even an actual birth stool. It can describe the moments leading to a baby breaking through the womb. A time of pain, a mashber, a place that is broken through, brings forth new life and new possibilities. Since October 7th, the Jewish communities have experienced a surge in interest. People are joining Judaism. I have been to the mikvah with people who've chosen Judaism in record numbers in the last year and a half. But also people who are born Jewish are seeking more meaningful Jewish living at record rates. This year, choose Sinai by choosing to bring more meaning to the Jewish content in your lives that you have already. Do more, and do more with joy. Jewish learning. Try the new book that I mentioned last Shabbos by Sarah Horowitz, entitled As a Jew, Reclaiming Our Story from Those Who Blame, Shame, and Try to Erase Us. Horowitz, you might remember, was a lapsed Jew until age 36. A graduate of Harvard College and law school, she wrote that in college, she knew that she had enough Hebrew school to conclude that there was not much worthwhile in our tradition. And at age 36, she began her journey back as an adult to meaningful Jewish living by studying in serious ways. And then she writes, to live Judaism means to learn the profound, brilliant, challenging, humane wisdom behind our rituals and our traditions. Join our new adult B'nai Mitzvah confirmation class, even if you already did both. Explore Jewish ideas as an adult. Come to some of our other classes, find a study partner, find teachers. It's great to pray together, right? Have a personal prayer practice. Cheshbon HaNefesh, or looking internally at who we are, is not only for the high holidays, it's for each day. Join our ritualized practice of being together in communal prayer. It is in the act of pouring our hearts, singing, yearning, that we can even find healing. It is the practice of gathering that can be the answer to your prayers. And at home on a day-to-day level, stop and say your own prayers like we did just a few moments ago. Gather. It feels good to be here together, creating a connected community. Come for simchas, or sadness, for music, for mahjong, to break bread, to pray, or just to gather. Join a new chavurah, friend group that we will create in the coming year. Affinity groups. Do more acts of redemptive loving kindness. Come back tomorrow to hear more on that. The Jewish people have survived and thrived because we live with a story that focuses on living Jewishly in a joyful way, and not only on what is painful. Of course, find what is broken in our world and then go fix it. That too is part of the Sinai covenant. On this birthday of the world, I'm going to share a story that you may know from 15th century Rabbi Isaac Luria, or the Ari. At the beginning of time, God's presence filled the world. When God decided to bring this world into being to make room for creation, God contracted by drawing in God's breath. From that contraction, darkness was created. And when God said, "Let there be light," The light came and filled the darkness, and 10 holy, precious, but fragile vessels came forth, each filled with light. And had they all arrived intact, the world would be perfect. But the vessels were too fragile to contain that divine light, and they broke, they shattered, they split, and those holy sparks and shattered pieces went all over the world. So God created humanity to gather the sparks of divinity, to repair the broken vessels of ourselves and of this world. We gather these broken shards each time we reach out to another, each time we do Jewish action or mitzvot, each time we gather, each time we pack this place, each time we learn, pray, do acts of kindness. We gather the broken pieces and we put them together, and something better comes of that. So amidst negative times, choose Sinai. Choose to fill your life with joyful Jewish living. We all may come here a bit broken, this year more than others. Difficult questions, politics, morality. But it doesn't mean we need to wallow in the sadness. Choose Sinai. Choose joyful, meaningful Jewish living. Shana Tova. We continue now with the Musaf service. It's not a long service, and we have beautiful, beautiful davening, both by Avi and our Levi'im.